Hey everyone, what's happening? My name is Brendan, and today on DevChatter, we are going to be doing some coding game, which is going to be a big blast. I haven't done coding game since the last time we did coding game on stream. And if you remember the last time we did coding game on stream, then you've been watching my streams for a long time. So welcome back. Let's have a little bit of fun. I want to say hi to everybody that said hello and stuff in chat. So greetings SNB and Wheelchair Sean. Um, let's see. So we got good comments about our XP loading screen. I'm a big fan of that. I do want to present one warning that in about 3 minutes we are going to have our first ad break that that they're going to throw at us. And if you go like, why do you have ads? It's like, well, because I don't like the fact that in order for someone to join your stream, they have to get a pre-roll ad. So I'm trying out having the ads run like every half hour or something like that. Subscribers should never get ads on the stream regardless, so they should find it completely irrelevant. But hopefully this means that someone that's new to the stream and wants to show up doesn't immediately have to sit through like 90 minutes of, or 90 minutes, wow, 90 seconds of ads. Greetings, Scott. Welcome, welcome everyone. As you know, I don't like to like dive in immediately. I like to do a little bit of an intro because I know that a lot of people are showing up still as the stream starts. Because I try sending out a bunch of announcements, tell people, "Hey, I'm going live." You know those things I probably should have sent like half hour ago, 2 hours ago, yesterday. I don't know. I think I kind of implied at yesterday's stream that there was a good chance we were going to stream again today. There is a chance of a Saturday stream. That Wheelchair Sean, that is a fantastic question. Um, so what is coding game? We did this a long time ago. I haven't touched coding games since the last time. Gotcha, Scott. Since the last time we did one of these on stream, and I don't remember the last time we did one of these on stream. So 3 years ago, maybe? I don't remember. The the coding game stuff is, it's kind of like little programming-y, challenge-y type games that they have on here, and I think in theory you're supposed to be like super competitive with the other people on the internet because you gotta be the greatest developer of all time. Which I don't really like. Okay, cool. You got your nerd cred. Awesome job. You outcoded someone in a game on the thing. I think they're just kind of fun and interesting little bite-sized challenges. So we've done them in the past. Ooh, Greendolf. Am I stuttering? Hang on. Oh, yeah, I'm red. You know what? Hang on. I gotta guess. Now let's find out if that gets better. Is okay, is it better now? Go ahead and refresh and tell me if it's better. Did I just fix it? Because I just looked and I found out what I think the problem was. Uh, well, I didn't have Dropbox throttled. And so I decided, you know what, I'll just tell it to pause. So that might have been what it was. Tell me if that, very smooth? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so ads. Greendolf, why? You know, I'm gonna yell at Greendolf. I don't know why Greendolf's not subscribed to the channel, man. Greendolf was subscribed. Ad in progress. Yeah. Sorry, ads running. We'll start right after. Yeah. Yeah, the ads are a little bit annoying. But then we won't have we won't have an ad again for a little bit, and nobody coming in will have to get one. I think they let me snooze them if they're at a bad time, something like that. Either way, let's take a look. Let's talk about this. As soon as the ad is over, which I think it looks like it's 20 seconds, we'll get started. But for those of you who are interested, what we're going to be doing today and are able to see this is we're going to try jumping back into this. So I haven't done CodinGame in forever, and I think they changed it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. hopefully our stream is cleared up and we're good to go. Everyone should be, roughly speaking, about back from the ad break. If you're not, you're only going to miss a little bit. Okay, so let's jump in. CodinGame. I have an account on here. Also, if you want to play along, I highly recommend any one of our chatters put in your company name as DevChatter, because I think it'll let you just put it in if you want, and then you'll be in the same company that I am in. I think in some ways you can compare or something like that. I don't know, and we could like see how our community does stuff like that. It can be fun. So if you want to play along, there's that. One other thing I wanted to mention related to CodinGame. I do know that they do events, and I've been planning on doing CodinGame stuff in the past, and they're doing an event coming up here. They're in the fall, I thought. I don't see where they're mentioning it, but they have like an event that's coming up that we're gonna do. Also, are they listing me? Hey, they're listing me. We have almost no viewers yet. All right, let's get started. So what do we got to do? So welcome. Our motto is programming is fun. I agree, programming is fun. The community awaits you. Choose a nickname. I already did that. Thank you, though. All right, what's the next thing? Participate. Apparently, I've done a Clash of Code before, so that's cool. And then finish this path. Cool. I did a thing. All right, what do we need to do? Come on, give me something to actually play here. Discover bot programming, algorithms, start your training, solve 2 easy puzzles. I've already done that, okay. Step by step solves 2 medium puzzles. I've apparently already done this. Register to a code event. Participate with other developers in a code event to improve your skills. Clash of Code. Clash of Code is a game where you solve simple, short puzzles at the same time as other players. It's a great training for technical interviews. Oh, so you're supposed to play it at the same time as someone else. I don't care about playing at the same time as someone else. Let's go do a practice thing. Yeah, it is kind of a fun UI that they've got there. Exactly. I agree, Fuel Snable. It's the quality of viewers. That's why I was suggesting that people join our company on here. No. That was just a clicker thing for like XP. They're trying to gamify their thing that's already a game for programming. Yeah, we need, you know, it's like, yo, dog, I heard you like games, so we put games in your games so you can game while you game. Best suggestion. ASCII art? ASCII art could be interesting. I don't know if people have suggestions for what things. So why don't we start with one of the... So we'll start out in the easy things and then move up. So we'll start with easy. Let's see. ASCII art. Details. What will I learn? Strings and arrays, indexes, arrays. Yeah, we know these things. Learning opportunities. Strings, arrays, and loops. Cool. Do you no, yeah, I'm a programmer, not an artist. The goal of the problem is to simulate an old airport terminal display. Your program must display a line of text in ASCII art. What? You have to split strings, store them, and create others. You can use data structures like arrays or hash tables. Okay. I guess we hit solve it. Yeah, okay, that's what we do. Looks like they give us instructions, some editor over here. I'm gonna get myself a little bit more editor space. And I'm kind of hiding a bit of the input. I see some other streamers play Clash of Code with viewers. Oh, okay. That could be fun, Fuel Snable. Maybe I'll do that at some point. In the stations and airports, you often see this type of screen. Yep. I'm used to seeing that kind of screen. Have you ever asked yourself whether it might simulate this as one? Oh, ew, that's ugly. They were like, "Are you an artist?" No, you're a programmer. Whoever did this, not an art. Like that is some ugly, unreadable ASCII right there. To write a program that can display a line of text in ASCII art in a style. You're given the style as input? Okay, so they must be giving us, like, the shape of the how do we... I'm wondering what they're going to give us. Line 1, the width L of a letter represented in ASCII art. All letters are the same width. Okay. That's weird that width is L, because that's like length, not width. I'm starting off great here. Definitely not confusing at all. What fantastic instructions. So the width of the characters, the height of the characters, the line of text made of n ASCII characters. The string of characters represented in ASCII. So the text T in the ASCII art is what we're supposed to output. The characters A to Z are shown in ASCII art by their equivalent in uppercase. The characters that are not in A to Z will be shown as a question mark in ASCII art. Okay, so if it's not one of those, we show a question mark. I can do that. Yeah, it does, but exactly. Yes, that's what's weird is, yeah, so I would say like the length and the width, but width and height makes sense, but then I would call the letter, width and height, right? It should be W and H, not L and H. That's the only thing I find weird is that they gave me the input with this, and I just want to make it that, because I'll be less confused. So I'm going to do that first, because I think that'll make more sense. Constraints, H is less. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute, you're switching terms. You're using both width and length, and that's like, it's like, no, there's two different things. All right, so if you get the input 5E, okay, so this is the rows for the letters. Okay, so we're doing another input, and then the row is the row of these. Why didn't they save that for us? So that's a full row. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to actually make sure we're saving that data. So I'm going to make a string array of size height. Correct? String array of size height that we're going to call rows equals new string array H. I guess I could make it a list or something like that, but it's like a consistent, we know how big it's going to be. So this would be like row 0 would be that. So I'm gonna run this real quick with it just printing out answer, just make sure I didn't break everything right here. Play all test cases. So testing one letter E, it should fail horribly. Yeah, I said answer. Oh, this testing is not great. Wheelchair Sean, yes. Bigger text. Is that good? Sorry about that. I don't think I can go that much bigger and still be working in this editor of theirs, but I'm gonna shrink this. Oh, well, can I not go any further? Nope, that's as little as they let me go here. I want the instructions out of the way so I can give you more room. Expand. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we'll run with this for now. Okay, so they let me put in debug messages too. That's convenient. Okay, so this should be I should be able to write those into each one of these spots, print that out, and so then in theory, if I did it right, var row in rows, then we should be able to print them out like this. And let's just make sure that, let's sanity check real quick. So we'll right line a row and try it. So let's see how the debugging works, because I haven't used this in forever. Okay, so here's the standard output. So it put this in here, so looks like we pull in the letters correctly, so that's all the letters. Looks like the last one is the question mark. So if we have a character that is not one of these, then we use the question mark. And then we printed out answer, which is clearly not the answer. But what it is expecting for this is the text we are supposed to do is T. So what we're supposed to do is, for each letter in T, find where that is in the sequence. And that's the one we try to do. So let's do this a simple way first. Let's make E pass. So we'll just return the first one, and then we'll do it correctly. Can I? Oh, good, commenting worked there. So let's make a string answer exist. And I know a string's not necessarily going to be the best way to do this long term, but let's do this. So string result is this. Now, how are we going to get that? We should take, for each letter in here, which this one's just going to be E. So, you know what? I'm going to write it the correct way, I think. For each, let's say car letter in T. You know, I kind of want to rename those. They told me what they are, but I kind of don't like those names, so I'm probably going to change them in a minute. Okay, so for each character in there, we're supposed to find the correct one. So, ooh, what do they have? Is letter. So I just need to figure out if it's a letter. So if I first check to see if it's a letter, then that tells me handle it normally. If not, then I do something else. So we're going to do that. So we're going to say if the character is a letter, then we're going to do one thing. Otherwise, it is a question mark. So we're going to say it's a question mark. I don't want to leave just a question mark. Someone's going to think that I don't know what that one is. And so like, yeah, it's a question mark. He's confused. It's like, no, I'm not. I know what it is. I know what that one is. And the person that would think that is maybe future me. So I'm clarifying for myself. Okay, so if it's a letter, then that means they only had, yeah, we don't care if it's cap or lower, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is upper or lower? Okay, so if it's upper, well, if it's upper, then what do we want to do? We want to say, how do we want to do this? If it's uppercase, we could say letter minus A. So we'll say int offset equals that. So that would be our offset. We're just doing this the naive way to begin with. So we're saying, so it's going to treat those as numbers, and it's going to find the offset. So A corresponds to an ASCII character. So if we take the letter, subtract A, we should get how far beyond A it is. And since that's our starting point, these letters should all be in order. So you know what? Since this code's going to be the same, I'm going to put the offset here. I'm going to create it there, and we're just going to set the offset with this, which actually means that I'm going to write this as a ternary instead. I'm going to say offset equals is that, and then it's going to be letter minus A, or letter minus A. So essentially we're saying, if it's an uppercase letter, take whatever its ASCII coordinate is, subtract capital A. If it's a lowercase letter, subtract lowercase a. And that should get us to the correct spot. Now, alternately, I could take the letter and to upper or to lower it, and that would also do the same trick with the letter. It shouldn't really make a difference. So that should get me the offset. And that is the offset into this that I need to go. But this, still, in order to use it, I need to go up there. So why don't I, since all of these are going to use the same trick anyway, I put it up here. What would the offset be for the last one? 26? So we're going to set it to 26, and then if it's a letter, change it, because that's the question mark, right? So 26 should be the last letter in the sequence. So we start off by setting it to the value of question mark. Position of... So we set it initially to the position of the question mark, and then if it's a letter, we're going to change it based on that. And then that'll get us our offset. So that's our offset in each row that we need to do. And so, or in each that's the offset we need, that tells us the column we need to go to in each row. So what we need to do then is say for int I in for int I, well, I is less than, what's the height, right? Height is h. So while we're less than the height, we want to go into the rows of, so we're doing this one effectively, because we're grabbing the rows. So we're doing almost the exact same thing as this. So let's grab this, because we're going through the rows again, like this, except that we're extracting out instead of reading into. We're now going, instead of writing into, we're going to read from them. Now, technically, we can probably reuse the loop up above as we're reading it in instead of saving it. But for now, I'm doing it this way, and we can refactor to that in a second. So it is... So this is each row of this that we're putting in. So this, for now, is only going to do a letter at a time. So because we're doing each letter this way instead of going in by row, this is only going to work for the single letter case for now. It's only going to work for the E. This is not actually written correctly for that. That's why we're going to shift up to use, you know, grab the parts out of the row to begin with. Which, now that I think about it, what we could do is grab the sections from those rows, get their numbers to begin with, to basically get the offsets to grab. Let's think about that in a second. Let's make this one work. So we need to get a range here, and that range is going to be that to here. Now, what is the range? We need to start with our offset times the offset multiplied by the width, right? Because I named it width instead of length. Yeah. Yeah, Green Dove. I mean, I can understand your complaint. And yes, Fuel Snable is in here. So SNB, I think as a moderator in here, so I'm using the stream. I have the stream element bot running. I think technically you are authorized to add commands to my bot. If you wanted to create a new Fuel Snable command, I think you can. So fairly certain. So we want to go to that times the width, and then out the width one more length, right? So it's like start equals this. So we'll say start, and this is start plus W. So that should get me a range of characters, and we'll call this letters equals that, right? So that would get me some letters. Oh, what is it? Environment new line? Is that what it is? C sharp, environment new line. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that gets me a row, which means that I want to take result and add this. Now I know, string concatenation, crazy, should be setting off red flags for everybody right here because you really don't want to do that. That is a really good point, Greendorf. I commented at the beginning of the stream. I probably should have said that like in some way planned this stream, but yes. Would you stop it with the thing and the thing, Brendan? Don't hit that button. All right. So that did I have it print? I didn't have it printing out result. I don't even print result. Try it again. What do you got for me? Hey, it printed out the E. Okay. So we're good. It will not, it's going to fail on this horribly because we're printing out section at a time by letter. So the structure it's going to make for Manhattan is going to be awful. So you'll see that's not even close to being right. And by that, I mean, I think it like wrote it like down because we didn't go letter to time, but that's fine. That's fine. Command. Yeah, SB, I don't know how to add new commands with the Stream Elements bot, but if you look it up, you should be able to. If you aren't concatenating strings by copying spans into a stack, exactly, Greenup. That reminds me. So for those of you that do pay attention to my YouTube channel, you'll notice that I have actually been putting out tons of videos on there, and I do need to get around to making some videos on spans, because, well, I haven't made videos on spans yet, and spans are cool. Okay, so that does what I was talking about. It does the, I told you, like, the way we were writing this was going to work for the E, but not for anything else. So I want to do it up here, which means we need to figure out before this point what our offsets are. So I want to create, so these are going to be, this is like the reference rows. So rows is like reference rows. These are the rows that we look up to get the values. I don't know if we're gonna even need to save these just yet. We're gonna find out if we need to. T is the text, yes. This is text to, that's the text it wants. So we're going to say text. All right, so we're down here. We're saying go through the number of rows that we've got, but we want to get some information before we get to this point. I want to walk through the text in T and get the offsets, which is what we're doing down here. So let's steal this code. We're going to move it up here, but we're going to remove the part where we try to get the results. And the reason I want to do that is I want to make an int array of offsets, and we're going to make it a new int array of size text.length. So the length of the text string is how long, is basically how many offsets we need to get, because we need an offset per letter that was in that string. Did we have to handle spaces? I don't remember if we had to handle spaces. I don't think we do. Ooh. Oh, no, that's just changing the, okay, that's just the name of it. Okay, it just has a different representation. Okay, cool. So this is the offsets. And then we need to set the offset of this number. We need to do this as a for, not a for each. I guess we could do it as a link for each. Fuel stable doing work. SB doing work trying to get that fuel stable command added. Hey, there you go. So yeah, test command fuel stable. Then you have to put in what the response text is. It looks like. No. I think you put in the response text. So I think you say like you almost have it. You just need to say command add fuel stable and then say what text it's supposed to reply with. So. And that's when you'd put in, you should use T4 templates for that. So I can try doing it real quick. Let me see if it works. So we do add fuel stable, you should use T4 templates for that. Oh, then you did it too. There's already a command for that. Haha, I win! I got to it just before. Yeah, does it work? There you go. Now you got the command back, SMB, the important stuff. All right. So we're grabbing the offsets here. I need to do this as a as another for loop, so I'm just gonna grab that. And we're gonna for loop this thing. We're gonna say for I is less than the text length, we're doing a plus plus I, and then we're gonna come down here, and then instead of having letter, we're gonna have to index in to get the letter, but that's fine. It's gonna be text of I instead of that, which means we're gonna use that here, here, and here. Now, I could create a, you created it as add? Nice. Add. Sure, add. Add. Sure hope this doesn't work. Yeah, Greendorf, I have authorized my mods to make these commands. You can make silly commands, I think, and it sounds like there are edit features to be able to edit them too. Maybe delete? I don't know. So let's see. So we're gonna go through each of the letters, put it in a position, check if it's a if it's a letter, if it's upper, we're gonna do that, and then that is gonna get us our offsets. We just have to go offset of I equals that, and then offset of I equals that, and that'll get us our offsets. And then down here, we're going through these, but maybe what we should do instead is write the rows as we do this. So I kind of think we should not even bother saving these in here. So I'd originally put those in there, but I don't think we should do that. So let's make this string row equals, let's call it a reference row. Just because I do want to be clear on that. So we should do a for each var int offset in offsets. So this is essentially for each letter that we want to do, we should write in the piece from that row that we need, which is this code here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or actually maybe it's, yeah, that's going through the rows, but we just need this. We don't need the reference rows multiple, we just need the one. We're in it already. So it's just reference row. Result doesn't exist yet, but I can move that. So that's reference row. Now, I don't really like a couple of the things we're doing, but I think this might work. So let's comment out that whole section. We're saving it there just so we don't lose that piece. Let's try all these and see what happens. Okay, so E still works. Manhattan didn't work. Why didn't Manhattan work? For each row, the result, we're going to add in... Oh, we new lined at the end of it. Yeah, okay. Silly Brendan. It probably got weirder with that one, because what we should do is at the end of each one of the offsets, then result plus equals the environment new line, and then we'll run it. Oh, yes! S&B, I'm planning on making a YouTube video on minimal APIs. So if there is some aspect of those that you think is really cool that I should make sure I talk about, let me know. And I will give it a shot on YouTube. Hey, boom! It works! We got it! So I think that's everything. So why don't we go through our code, see what we can clean up and refactor before we try submitting this. So let's take a look. I have not been paying attention. It probably rolled an ad at some point. Oh, ad's in progress. Yeah, see? I completed it during an ad. That's why Greendorf and everybody else should you know, subscribe to the stream. hopefully everybody enjoyed that. SMB, seriously, what's your what did you like the most about the minimal APIs? This is one of the reasons why I really enjoyed. I don't know if you ever looked at our Dallas's API endpoints back in the day, but like that is a similar concept. Basically, it's like, look, I want to go super minimal on my API. So he had a package just for that I like using. And also because I tended to implement the same thing myself, I just grabbed endpoints and was like, yep, we're just gonna, leverage the endpoint structure to make our APIs because we don't need this full like MVC craziness with these controllers. So currently using API keys for authenticating clients, and it would be good for you to survey other methods. Okay. So what do we got? So we read these in. We grabbed width and height. How many places did I use this W even? One? We used it down there inside of that. Okay, cool. Let's see. So we calculated the offset for this one, figured out what the distance was there, grabbed the part we wanted using a range, and put that in the result. So I don't know if we have enough for string builder to matter. We go based on the height for that. We go based on the text length for this one. We use it again here for that. Now those are arrays, so it's not really it doesn't like go end to have it as a stored value. We've got our offsets in there. We assign them into these. We go through here. That's a pretty quick way of detecting those. It really doesn't seem all that bad. I don't see anything that's crazy bad about our code. One of the notes about that. So we're doing an environment new line here. We're reading in the reference row here. Is this the only spot we use it? We use it inside that loop there. So yeah, that's not bad. We have the string there. We read these in. This really doesn't seem that bad. Cool. Yeah, no problem, S&B. Let's play all the test cases again, and if it's good, we will continue on and do another one of these. So I'm gonna let it run. We'll submit it and just move on. Looks good. Let's get going. Submit. We'll see how it did. I have no idea what they measure on. This is our first time that we've done this in quite a while. We have not played this game in forever. Cool. What you learned? Ooh, I learned about strings, arrays, and loops. We'll give it this. I kind of want to. I don't want to give it that because there's parts of the instructions I wasn't really a big fan of. How do I go on to the next thing? I just want to play another game. Can I just get another game? Why do I have to go back? So okay. Pro tip: if you're ever building a system for something, it should be easy for the person that is interacting with your site to just go to the next thing. Don't be like, yeah, go back. No, it should be like, here go forward. Here's more. Here's play my next game. It should have suggested a game and just let me play it. Okay. So we did one of those ones. Death first search. I like their play on depth first search. All right. That could be interesting. Oh, pathfinding. Oh man, that takes me back to my college days. I remember having to do that stuff. What looks fun? All right, you know what? This one, I like the pun. There's no next thing as a collection of puzzles. Yeah, but they could suggest one that was similar. Yeah. But they could just suggest. You don't need a specific order, but they could suggest one. So that's all I want. It's like it doesn't even matter which one they suggest. They could just randomly pick one and be like, "Here's one. You know, do you want to try this one next?" That'd be pretty easy to just suggest. All right, so what do we got? This is death first search, huh? How do I do it? Solve it? Yeah, there you go. All right, so what do we so? Ooh, is there a visual on this? Do we actually get to watch something? That'd be fun. All right, so your virus has caused a backdoor to open on the botnet network, enabling you to send new instructions in real time. You decide to take action stopping botnet from communicating on its own internal network. Botnet's all right, so your mission is to reprogram the virus so it will sever links in such a way that the agent is unable to access another subnetwork, thus preventing information concerning the presence of our virus to reach botnet's central hub. Okay, so for each test you were given a map of the network, the position of the exit gateways, the starting position of the Bob agent. You can only be connected to a single... at each game turn, first off, you sever one of the given links in the network. Then agent moves from one node to another accessible node. Okay. Victory condition. The agent cannot reach an exit gateway. Lose condition. The agent has reached a gateway. Okay. I don't totally understand this yet, but we're going to figure it out. If you enjoyed that one, you might also like with 3 different suggestions. Yes, exactly, Wheelchair Sean. That's what I'm talking about. You don't need to have a specific order, but you could say, like, when I rated it, you know, 4, you could be like, oh, that was a positive. I should give him some that are similar to this. And if I rated it low, it should be, okay, I should give him different ones from this. And, you know, all systems should have those kinds of recommendations. So, yeah, well, the thing is, as a user, I could also say that, you know, like, you can base it on that. But, yeah. Oh, I'd have a lot of fun. Yeah. Text representation of the network used in this example. There are 4 nodes, 4 links, and 1 gateway. All right. So I don't know if you can read that text. I'll highlight it so it's a little bit easier. So the first line looks like it tells us how many nodes, how many links, and you know, the number of gateways. The next 4 lines describe the links. So the second number is the number of links. So the second number tells you how many lines are going to follow it. And then the last integer is the index of the exit node. Is the exit node the gateway? Hang on. Position of the exit gateways. Okay, so the exit gateway, I think, is a node. They're just mixing up the language on us there. So this, I think, is the like a visualization of it here. Static void main. Yeah, static void main. Come on, Greendorf. You don't tell me you've not seen a static void main. Let's see. So it's saying that there is a 0. 0 must be the that must be the starting position. So there is a connection from 0 to 1 and from 0 to 2. There's a connection from 1 to 3 and a connection from 2 to 3. 3 is the gateway. Does it always start at the first node? How did I know that that was the starting point? Because I see that it's showing that one in red. So the Bob agent starts at node 0. Oh, okay. So it just always starts at node 0. Okay. Our virus cuts the links between the nodes 1 and 3. Okay. Because we wanted to block it, and then turn 2, it moves to number 2, and then we need to cut the node, that one, to prevent him from getting here. And then you win because it cannot get to the gateway. Okay, this makes sense. So the tests provided are similar to the validation test used to compute the final score, but are actually different. Yeah, that makes sense. So you have to be able to handle all the scenarios, not just what they threw at you in the testing structure. File read-only struct record. Yeah. They chose the great example of having the same number of nodes and links. Yes, that's what it looks like. I mean, I could make it public if you want. Look. Although it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't actually public. It was, I think it should have been internal by default, but it doesn't matter. I don't think that'll make a difference towards running the test cases. Let's run it right now and see what happens. Hey, it failed the first one. Okay, so... All right. That makes sense. So let's see what it gives us for input on this. So can I shrink that any smaller? No. All right. So what did they give us? So this is the total number of nodes, the number of links. So that's node count and link count. We're gonna get slightly better names here before we get started. So we're gonna have node count and link count, and then did those other ones get used anywhere? Okay. Code still runs just the same way. Okay, good. Yeah, so I had zoomed in once. Can people not see? I don't know how that text is. I have it at a size that I think is about right. This is the number of exit gateways. Okay. So this is the exit count. Do 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 do. Still compiling and good. Still good. That's taking longer than I'd like. Are you still good? Okay. Still runs. All right, so we have the exit count. And then for each one of the links, inputs equals read line split. So got it. So this is the 2 points that there is a link for. Can I cut any node I want? Or does it matter? So this gets me all the links. I kind of want to just grab all the links real fast. So let's make links equals new int array of link count. Oh, it's not going to be an array of those, is it? Because that would just get me the single point. I could do this evil. We can make a quick array of those and just not worry about it. Because it's always going to be 2 points, isn't it? So I could do an array where we had that, but it's always going to be these two. So A and B, just for, doesn't really matter. I don't know that I like that, but we'll stick with it for the moment. So realistically, this is going to be links I, A equals that. B equals that. Okay, so that should get me the 2 sides of a link. That would get me all the links. Then for each one of the exits, this gets me the exit. Now, I don't know why I don't have all the exits. Exit nodes equals, let's just call it exits, equals new int array of length exit count. So this is exit I. Okay. So that should get me all the exits. So I now have all of the exits and all of the links in some kind of structure. All right. So now when we're done, well, let's while that's running, we'll talk about this. So the index of the node on which the agent is positioned this turn. So this gets me his current position. So let's do the naive approach first and just try to very quickly cut without thinking about which one. We're just going to try cutting every link that is connected to our exits. Okay, so that's the indices of the node you wish to sever in the link. Okay. Which means I need to remove that when I take it out. So I am going to change this. We're going to do a list instead of an array for the links because I want to change its size. New list of that. And in here, instead of this, we are going to create them. So that would be like this equals that, comma, this. Okay, so there we go. So now we're going to add in links this way. Links.add. All right. Like that. So that'll get me all the links. And then what we need to do is choose a link and then spit it out and then remove it. So we could just say links first. We could just literally just grab the first link and just print it out. Can we, when we remove, do we get it back? Let's do this. So we're going to say links first. So we're going to say var to remove equals that. And then we're going to say links.remove to remove. That'll remove it from the list. And then we're going to write out well, you know what? With it being this simple, we're going to say to remove A plus and to remove, oops, plus to remove B. Yeah, stop it, Brendan. All right, so this is going to be the super naive approach. We're just going to take first link off the stack and just cut. So should work for the basic ones, but then after that, we're going to need to get smarter about it. So yeah. So what we need to do now is, so the challenge is there were so many connections into this point that we have to start figuring out what's the shortest path that it can take. And we're going to need to cut that, I think. So it's this logic that needs to change. We are not correctly picking the one to remove. So instead of just grabbing the first, we need to figure out which path it is on. So we could say, Let's create one of these. Hang on. To remove. Is that right? Expected this. Yeah. Wouldn't it go here? Oh, yeah. Not, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm like, that should work fine. Why isn't that working? I was just complaining because I didn't actually do anything. To remove. Does that work? Or is it still going to complain? Oops. Return that, Brendan. Return it. There we go. Okay. Now let's run these again. Hey, who dares? Welcome. Greetings. Yep. Start of the weekend for some people. I guess it's I got about an hour till it's start of the weekend for me. Technically. Okay, so works on the first one, fails on the second one because we don't cut the correct one because we said to just do first. So how do we want to do this? We want to say which one do we want to remove? So we need to figure out his path. What's the shortest path he can take to get to the gateway? So we need his current position, which is going to be right in here. I think that's the only value we're going to need to pass. So we're going to say int, what is this guy called? Enemy node. Okay. So we're going to say, if there is a link between him and the gateway, no matter what, we have to cut that, right? I think that's sane. So I'm going to write this first off. We're going to say if enemy node equals let's say for each var link in links. So go through each one. If enemy node equals link A or enemy node equals link B, and what's our gateway node called? Exits. And there's an exit that he can reach. So basically, if we get to the point that he has an exit that he can do in one step, we immediately have to cut that. We can do that without figuring out any without doing any path detection. We could just say, hey, if he's got a one step, please block. This is like if you're playing tic-tac-toe and you put in a rule that you're like, look, if my opponent can just put in their value and just get 3 in a row, then yeah. Let's not give them that one. We're going to block that first. So link, we'll say exits.any e equals link. So we're not even going to check this unless the enemy node is on it already. And there are any exits on either the link A or E equals link B. I think I got that. Return link. Otherwise, return the first one from the set. And I think that'll cover it. So let's try that again. Let's play all the test cases. There's a little bit weird logic. But basically, I think what we said is if he can ever get there in one, block him. What? Wait. I logicked wrong. Hang on. Try that again? We got it. That was really funny to watch. As he tries to get around, and we're like, chop, 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 chop. Oh, that was good. That was good. Oh, I like it. Very entertaining. That was good. Yeah, in case you missed that, here, watch. Watch up in the corner, up top there. It goes around, and each step we're just like, no, 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 stop him, stop him. There might be a better way of doing this one, because in theory, well, no, that might be the only way to get that one. Here, let's play them all and see what happens. Exactly. Yes. Yes. If it split up and went in multiple directions, you're in big trouble. But for now, this works. All right. So I'm doing all again. We'll see what happens. Let's see if we can block it. Oh, we got another loop. We got another loop. He's trying to get into that exit. Haha! You can't get in. You can't get in. Look at this. Please tell me this naive code works. My I don't know if this works for the final one, but it works in these simple cases they gave us. This is not the right code for this, but it's funny because it works. This is not how you should do this. Hang on. I want to see if it works. I think it'll let me keep going, but I want to see, does it get... Oh, it gets the real one. I did not do a breadth first search. I did not do a graph. I didn't do it. I remember how to do those, but this is not it. We didn't do it. We cheated. We cheated. Hey, Code with Sean, welcome. You just missed our well, not this kind of bot programming, but most of what we do on this channel, our channel, by the way, is like 5 years old at this point, almost. And most of the streams that we've done are building chatbots. Not like, anything like, not to talk with people, but like for interactions and Twitch and things like that. And like code connecting into video games and other things like that. So we have a little bit of craziness. We have some fun. We do some katas, some programming exercises, whatever we want to get into. Let's go. Oh, that was funny. I got a good laugh out of that. Yeah. Back to home. What is the class? Have you ever seen IRC's Alice bot? I don't remember who dares. I used to use IRC back in the day, but I have not touched it in forever. Reminds me of my college days. We had an IRC server running, and so all of us were sitting around in class, just we all we're the computer science nerds, so we all had our laptops out, and we would just be talking about stuff in class. We also played like multiplayer games. Oh, ad break. Sorry, hang on. Yep, I wasn't paying attention, but thank you for the heads up about the ad break. Everybody in the ad misses the dance. All right, yeah, silly dance. Let's see. End date. There is a clash of code. Something. Take a break. I don't know what this is. It's a game to improve your efficiency by solving short programming problems with other people at the same time. Players improve your things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, thanks for following the stream, Frozen Beast M. What you? Oh, subscribing. Hey, there you go. No, not the event. Oh, okay. You want me to like just what is it? Is it compete? Is that what it is? Oh, they've got little bot thingies. Okay. Interesting. Activities compete. Okay. Oh, starting in 0 seconds. So it's like starting now. So you join a battle. Okay. So I click this and in like 2 minutes it starts. Assuming that there are participants. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but we'll find out. We'll lose horribly because I have no idea what we're doing. And yes, welcome, Frozen Beast. Thank you very much for joining the crew. You will not get ad breaks anymore, and you get, some awesome emotes. I don't know if you've seen our emotes, but I love them. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? You have to pass the maximum number of tests with the lowest code size. Oh, lowest code size. I mean, that's kind of good, but not always good. Lowest code size doesn't mean better code, but sure. What happens if you run these? Input, the integer, the product of all digits. Oh, the product of the digits in the integer. That's funny. Okay. I wonder if they're counting characters or lines. So why did we parse it? We want it as a string, don't we? So the product of them. So I want to do like, I want to like aggregate these or something, right? Where I take like, yeah, but they're not, but one's a, but it's character. Yeah. To list for each. Int total equals, so product. So x times equals, whoops, total times equals x, right? For each one of those, it should be int.parse the x. And don't I just print out total now? Oh, it's character. What is x? Isn't x a character? It's, yeah. All right, we'll two-string the character. Oh, you know what I could do instead of a two-string that's a little bit shorter? I don't know how much time I've got. Maybe I'm wasting time here. Is that shorter than two-string? I don't even know if I've got my code right. Wow, someone got their code down to like nothing, huh? Do we need system IO for that? I don't think we do. System collections generic. I'm technically using it, but I don't think I call it that way, so I don't know that I need it. Am I using system text? I am using link. T. Main, you don't technically need args. Static void main. Class. Does it need to be called solution? Did I have 100% already? I don't know if I did. Did I? Got it. So we're in shortest mode. Yeah. Yeah. In C sharp, we can't get all that small. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. Maybe this will shorten it. Static using system.console. Can I not use it? Oh, it's a using static. Whoops. Using static system console. We'll get a little bit shorter like that, I think. We're down to 188. So we need to parse it as an integer. Is there an easier way to do that? Oh, there is. Hang on. So we can just take x minus 0. Is that right? Am I off by 1? Ruby, Python, JavaScript. Yeah, I've definitely got a disadvantage. You know what I could do, now that I think about it? I don't have to do this inside of a for each. I could do it in something else. I can cheat. Hang on. I think I can cheat. What if instead of doing this, I said select and did nothing with them? What if I did it as a select? It's a select with side effects. That's a little bit shorter. Does this get any shorter? That technically removes the character when I do that. I don't need to use aggregate because I can use select, can't I? I guess if I used aggregate, the thing that's weird with aggregate is, I guess I can technically multiply and treat the character as a number and get away with it. This code not work as is? Wait, hang on. I was figuring the select would be faster than the aggregate, but maybe I'm wrong. Hang on. Let me run this again. Did I okay, I broke it here when I did this. This works, right? It is, but well, it technically it has a slight extra step. You're right that I should probably be doing an aggregate. The challenge is that if I do an aggregate on this, hang on, A, B, C, right? Then I got to remember the form they use. So. And don't you do like you do like C equals, A times B or something like that? But then the problem is I got to convert them all, and I think that's going to be longer than this for code length. Than doing than doing a select and trying to get away with this. Does the select work? Let me try the select because I'm thinking it might have been my other found one. Do an all. That's what I did, Greendolf. I had that in there, but for some reason it wasn't working when I did that. The select isn't quite working. So if I do the for each, right? If I do a dot to list and then a for each, dot to list and then a for each, I can take these numbers and just do x minus 0, which is what I'd put in one time. But x minus 0. But it was my for each that messed up the logic, I think. So this gets you a little bit shorter, but not short enough yet, I don't think. I mean, I'm going to remove all the spaces here in a second. But I can only get it down to that. I can't get rid of system.link as long as I'm using this, but... What? Yeah, I know, Greendolf. I had used this before. It's the select that messed up, and I thought it might have been this, so I backed up. But when I first put in the select, I wrote it this way to try to get this working. So, you sort of realize... You think that aggregate will work? We'll try it. So you were suggesting that we put in the aggregate. I just want to see if it's longer. Yeah, see, this is what I was saying, is it might be longer. I started typing it in, and I'm worried that it actually takes more characters. Whoops, read lint. Let's subtract all the white space. I don't know if it was counting white space. It was counting white space against me. Let's compare real quick, because I think I still got a little bit of time. It's the same. It's the same. Oh yeah. Minus 48 would probably be the same thing, wouldn't it? That'd be a little bit cheaper. 48 is 0. Let's comment that out and take a look real fast. Is 48 the number? Yep. So 48 is the number. Saves you a character. Fewer characters if you count the variable. The question is, I could to-list it. I can't get rid of link, and I can't get rid of console if I'm using these. I couldn't even avoid it on the for each. Okay, I can't get rid of the one before that, but I can get rid of this. That's about as short as I can get, which gets me underneath the JavaScript person there. So this is the challenge, Frozen Beast. You're right. When I saw that it was supposed to be shortest code, I was like, that's not going to be good. But that's the challenge. We're in a shortest mode. And so I'm supposed to get the... Yeah, exactly. Yes. The parens are not redundant, Greendolf. Yes, it's the total length of everything. So, like, chopping out white space where I can saves me a bit. So, getting this in here... what is code size 143? Does it have me listed yet? I think because I have to submit. I think when I'm done, I submit it. But I've got technically 2 minutes left. I don't know if I can get it any shorter than this. So minus 48, 10, 2 times equals that. For each that, right line that. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, right line the read line. Yes, that's a good idea. Yeah. Don't store it in a... no, because I need the T. If I aggregate. Yes, you're right. If I aggregate, then I can do that. That's a good point. Let's put the aggregate back. So minus 48. If I'm doing this, then the aggregate returns the value. So I can put this directly in here and then get rid of these. Okay, now we're at 133. Let's see if they still work. And while that's running, I'm going to see, is there anything else I can chop in here? I think that's it. I use the aggregate. I can't get rid of, I don't. The question is it shorter to use system? No, because I read the word console twice, and static is about as long as console. So maybe I don't save anything from that. That might be a wash. Or I could be sacrificing a character. I'm not sure. All right, I think I submit it, because we only got 30 seconds left. How'd we do? 4th place. What are we behind? We're behind a Ruby and 2 Pythons. But we're ahead of JavaScript and C, 547 characters. What? Fully qualifying the right line might have been shorter. You're right, but I was going to have a little bit of time there. I gotta say, doing a shortest code with C# was a bad idea. Like, we're not super like crazy in how, like, it's not ridiculous how much code you have to write, but you can't get much shorter than that. Yeah. Like, oh, that's funny. It's like, all right, I kind of now want to find out, like, can we go any better? Oh, did someone jump over me? It's another Python. Of course. Yeah, the Pythons jumped to the top. Hey, look, C# beat JavaScript. What was the JavaScript code? Parse int out of readline. Yeah, see, it's the usings at the top that really get me. That was a public yeah, that was public. Yeah, normally in like, I really have to tell people that short code is not actually a good thing. It's fun as an exercise, but you should never, 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 never use short code as the mechanic for like measuring anything of quality for your production code. That is about the worst idea you could possibly have. I wonder if it would have been even. Oh, that's a good point, Greendorf. If I had query syntaxed the length, the link, it might have been shorter. Yeah, exactly. Smart assy. That's what I love seeing. Code like that. So yeah, so Kate, we were just messing around with this. We're not doing like private lobbies or anything like that. I will be honest, I used to play, so I played some coding game, like, I don't know, probably like 4 years ago or something like that, and we haven't, like, DevChatter here, I used to stream like 3 or 4 times a week for like years back, starting in like 2017, 2018, 2019, that time frame. And then around like 2020, I pretty much didn't stream very much at all. In 2021, didn't stream much, and hey, I'm finally starting some streams again. And we've been fairly consistent with one or two a week. This is the second one this week. We streamed yesterday. We streamed last week. We streamed the week before. So we've been doing a few, and it's been fun. I'll hop in another one of these clashes in a second here. You code minified. Yes, thanks, Nilox. Love it. Yeah. If your code, if you can't tell the difference between your normal code and the minified version, yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, so we got a little bit of time. So I don't know how the private games work, but I'm gonna maybe hop in one of these. When's this one start? Starting in like, oh, Clash starts in 2, 1. Cool. I don't know how you start up a private one, but maybe I will. All right, so what is this? Clash reverse mode. I don't know what this means. The game mode is reverse. You do not have access to the statement. You have to guess what to do by observing the tests. Oh, just look at the tests and do what it's supposed to do. Okay. So just make the test pass. Don't worry about that. Found answer. All right, supposed to be 1. Done. How do you win? Is it just first person to finish? Okay. Input that. Oh, so are we... Expected output is negative, so we're subtracting each number. It's what it looks like. So this is going to be result. Int result. Wait, hang on. Input is... Oh, it's how many... It tells me how many numbers I've got. And then I always subtract those numbers. So the first input is how many numbers I've got, is what it looks like. Yeah, read line, that's number of inputs, and then that many inputs. And then I take the starting input, int result equals this, int parse 0 gives me that. Sorry, chat. Give me a sec. I will talk to you in a moment. Then we start at 1. If 1's less than that, then we do this. So then that, and then in here we're gonna say result minus equals. Assuming that I read correctly what it's doing, then we spit out result. Maybe I misread it, but that's what it looked like. I could be totally wrong about what it was doing, but that's what it looked like for the first one. Nope. Oh, it's supposed to print each one out. Oh, that's my bad. It's supposed to print out the current total at each point. String result total. Total. Total toString, and then what we do is we say result plus equals $sign that and the new total. Maybe I'm bonkers. Yeah, I think I have to print in every loop. Yep, blue spied. Now it should maybe work. Send a link to the last one. Not easily, Green Dolph. Certainly not while I'm in the middle of this one. Yeah, I'm a real person. I'm definitely not a robot. Do I just need 100% success and then I submit when I'm done? I guess I do. Huh. Weird. First one, D equals M. See, the thing I don't like about this is I'm looking at someone else's code here and I'm like, why are you single letter variabling? You did great, Kate. You did great. I wasted all my time writing all this stuff. Look at this one. N gets this inputs. Yeah, that's a nice one. What did other people do? No other languages. If I sit here, are they gonna have their other ones? Yeah, you got the fastest time. I'm wondering if anybody else is gonna finish so I can see what they did. Looks like this says pending results, so I think their code must be running, right? Do I want to share my code? Oh, okay. I clicked that so you can see it. Yeah, okay. I didn't know I had to click that to share it. Okay. What did this person do? Import that node. Huh. Weird. Yeah, so I think I think before this I technically maybe did one clash one time. Maybe I don't remember doing it, but I think I technically did one. Chippy, sorry. I don't know what you posted. Yep, single letter variables are the best. Yes, every for loop. Yep. Chippy, would you put? Oh, wait. You can't even CodinGame. Here's a link to us. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Which bot was it? Was it Nightbot that got you? Yeah, Nightbot's overzealous. Oh, hey, I did a clash of code. Yeah, that's that. What else am I supposed to do? Two clashes, I guess. Now what's this? Solve 2 clashes each in less than 3 minutes. Okay. Join a clash. Kate, hop in. Hey, you made it in. Excellent. Okay. Okay, we're gonna print that, make the first one pass. Is that a number of smileys? I am so confused by this one. That's weird. This is weird. Okay. So what is it doing? All right, so it's got that. If it gets a reverse, so it just needs an even number of those, and it prints it out. So it's how many smileys do you have? So count of these. I count. The I count equals that. X equals that. That's the I count, and this is the mouth count. Or X equals that. I think that's what it's doing. Result equals E M or it is oh no. I could be totally wrong on this, but I apologize everybody. While I'm doing this challenge, I can't really talk to chat. It's one of the problems that we ran into back in the day when we were doing this is that when doing this, then I have to do that. So then this it should fail the next one because it should fail that one because I need to get 2 of them. So this one is for it's the count times that. So it is How would you do that? I need to print that many times. Um, so I could just say if this, then console write line that and return, right? So I just say if these are equal, I do one. If not, do that. So we'll just write it this way. If that, then console write line, that text that we had there. Console write line, else console write line, oh no. So console write line, oh no, and then this one is the string result, build a string thing. And we say that, we say string result equals this, and then we say for int I equals 0 while I is less than mcount I plus plus, and we say result plus equals another smiley face. And result starts as an empty string. String result equals the empty string, gets that added, and then we print out the result. Jail Twitch, I am actually not sure which major version it's running here. So I usually run in .NET, I usually run .NET 6 these days. I'll be switching to .NET 7 soon. But I don't know what it is in CodinGame. But it seems not ancient. And I say that because it did at least allow me to use inline methods and static using, so it's not ancient. I would assume it's some kind of .NET Core or maybe a .NET, but I haven't tested anything that is... I think I got everything. That is language. That's language specific to one of the recent versions. Oh, hey, hey, Kate knows. There you go. So C# 10 and Net 6 is basically current. So that's good. Huh. Yeah, that is weird. This is I gotta say, this is still super weird. All right, let's try another one. What do we got going here? Oh no! Can I leave it? Kate can't snipe that one if it starts. There you go. Ah, now we're in one. Haha. Hey, Cadmus. Welcome. Greetings. Yeah, I am glad they're running a pretty recent version for this. Blue Spide, I don't know the exact release date. So language versions in C# are now releasing in tandem with versions of .NET. So when .NET 7 drops, which should be very, very soon, we will get C# 11 with it. And it's got a lot of nice new stuff with it, so should be good. What is this one? Fastest. So we need to write fast code this time. Okay. And what are we doing? Just Fibonacci? Input is n, the size of the pyramid, and okay, so we're supposed to print out the... Okay, so add another Fibonacci digit each time, so you're basically counting Fibonacci and then so create a pyramid of n lines. So we're not getting the number in the Fibonacci sequence we're getting the number of lines we're supposed to have. Thank you for following the channel, Abdel, I'm guessing, is the first name on there. But let me know if there is some shortened version you want me to say. And also, if I mispronounce anybody's name, yours or anybody else's, let me know, and I will try to say it better next time. Okay, so we need to figure out the Fibonacci sequence. So we need to do a number of lines. So what's the n? If this is line, so if this is n1, right? Let me confirm that. Example 2 is that. So yeah, so this is an n of 1. So n of 2 has... It is... Oh, what's the mathematical thing for this? So 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, fib number num count equals hang on. Rent I equals 0. I is less than n. I plus plus. And then we're going to say fib num count num count equals I. So this should be the total number of Fibonacci numbers to create. The second Fibonacci number is that. So int I equals 0. We'll call this fib equals 0. Well, fib well, I is less than fib num count I plus plus int fib equals 0. We're going to modify both sets in here. We're going to say oh, I should do it up there, shouldn't I? Oh, that's weird. It's like we need to track the row we're on and the other pieces we go, which is a little weird. The pyramid's all that's making it hard for me. It should be easier. All right, so the lines we need to write out. We know how many lines to create. It's how many then are on those lines. So they told us the number of lines. So I should do that first. This is how many Fibonacci numbers I should put on this line. That's the current state of Fibonacci numbers that we're on in order to figure it out. So this is, well, that is less than that, but we can say our current fib count is that. Why don't we use a fib tracker there and then for int j equals 0, j is less than I, j plus plus, So in each one of these rows, we're going to print out this. So we're going to write the line. So this is each line as we go through. This is how many numbers we need to print out. So the first number that we need to write is console write. Wonder if it'll complain about an extra new line or not. Yes, it's n lines with n items on the nth line. Which is why this structure should do it. This should be the correct number of numbers to print out. So this should print out the current fib, right? Fib plus a space at the end. If we do that, I should write that, and I should do that, and then we increment after we write it. And then it should give it to us, right? That's assuming it doesn't complain about my additional line at the end. I don't know if it's going to complain about my trailing space or not, but we're about to find out. If it's going to be like, you had a trailing space, and I'll be like, yes, yeah, I did. It doesn't like my trailing space. Okay, in that case, we're going to have to do this. We'll do this. We'll make fibs, and we'll say fibs, no, plus equals fib. And then we'll write out fibs trim. Oh, starts. Oh wait. Oh, fib number count. What? Fib needs to equal this. Fib needs to be previous. It's the previous fib. Which needs to be like fib. I should have just gone and written a Fibonacci method. Why didn't I just write a Fibonacci, Brendan? Why didn't I do it? And it's just each number. Fib count. Plus plus. I should have just written Fibonacci. This is what I get. I need to make an I enumerable of int. I'll make an I enumerable of int Fibonacci thing. Get fib. I went the wrong way. I went down a dumb path. Why did I do that? It's 'cause we're doing a thing and the race. Alright. So what do I want to do? How do I make this work then? I need to make the current number and the previous number. So, int prev equals that. Yeah. Int premium number. Fibonacci's not hard, but in the pyramid is what's messing me up, because that's just strange. So I is my number of lines. That's number that I should have in that line. That's number of Fibonacci numbers that I should have in that line. But I can always keep track of the previous numbers if I just keep them. So why don't I do this? Why don't I say fib numbers equals this? List of ints is fib numbers, new list of ints. So there's my fib numbers, and we'll start it with 0. So if we have that, then our next number, so we start with 0. That's the weird part, is we always start with 0. So maybe I should start that at 2 and just write line 0, because they probably never have one that doesn't have 0, right? Console write line 0. So we'll write this one. And then we should always be adding a new number. And then we start at the second line. This should have 2 numbers. Then we need to add a number to this. So the next Fibonacci number is we're going to add, and basically we need to add fib numbers of -1 and fib numbers -2. But we write it as this and this. And that should get us the fib number. But we only do that if fib numbers count is greater than 1. Otherwise, fib numbers dot add 1 is what we do. Hey, thanks for following. And I think Cadmos and Greendorf are talking and not to me. So I'm going to ignore them for the moment. So we add the last 2 numbers into the sequence every time, and that's how we add our new ones. But once we add them, then we print out the most recent Fibonacci number, which is always going to be this. So that means in here, we shouldn't do that at this point. We should do that inside of the loop, Brendan. We should do that inside of the loop. And that means we don't need to add fibs. Wait, we kind of do. Fibs is the string. Sorry. We add fib number, we add this one into the list, right? With a space on the end, right? Do I need the fib number count anymore? Does this get used for anything? I don't think it does. No! Did it work? I don't know if my code worked. I ran out of time. 100% score! Hey, we were done! Wow, that timing, that's funny. That is funny. Oh man, that is just silly. I was like, wait a minute, does the code work? I think I'm done. Like, all I was gonna do still was look to see if the code worked. That's funny. All right, yeah. That is hilarious. I am assuming that the other people playing have done a lot of this kind of stuff, because man, this is just weird for me. Look, 15 minutes, 50 minutes. Yeah, see everybody else. I did it at 15 minutes. The final submission. There you go. That's hilarious. What's my phone yelling at me about? Hang on, let me just make sure my phone's not yelling at me about anything important. All right. Yes, exactly. God's right. Yeah, that is 100% right. I don't even know how that. Yeah. Sorry, Chief. Yeah, you wanted me to look at the rest of the. Can I go back and look at it still? Hang on. I hit back. Let me see if it'll still show me. View code. All right, we'll look at your code, Chippy. Well, that's just silly. Pearl. All right, that's good. So you start off with a tuple of 0 and 1, and you print out, and then you're doing a join on the mapping of. So you're essentially selecting on. Yep, just taking the previous two. So you're essentially just doing like, almost like an aggregate to print it out. Yeah, that is Perl is superior language. Yes, I know, right? Yeah, I look at that. It's like, you can just glance at that and immediately know what this code is doing. I love it. That's funny. Perl is a language that I have not used in a long time. All right, what do we got for the JavaScript? What did Kate get for us? Kate, what'd you get for us? You got a. All right, so you did A and B, and then you said for. Oh, it only goes up to. So you just said for up to 1,000. So see, that's the funny thing is, I was trying to very careful. So Kate just took the approach of just generate a sequence of numbers up to 1,000. That's got to be more than it is. Whereas I spent all of my time trying to make sure that I was calculating the correct number, because I started off, I was like, well, how many Fibonacci numbers are going to be required for this pyramid? I'll generate exactly that many and then build the pyramid out of it. And I was like, wait a minute. I started doing that. I'm like, this is the wrong way. Whereas Kate's just like, boom, we're just going to do this and not even worry about it. It's like, we'll just make 1,000 of them. 1,000 of them's got to be enough. And it is, apparently. So then what, yep. So, and then the 1 to n and then print them out. Yeah. So it's funny. Just create 1,000 up front is like an awesome little trick for that. Because, yeah, if you knew that it was never over 1,000, then you're okay. But I guess it makes sense. How many Fibonacci numbers were you really going to put in there? All right, the fib sequence gets so big, so fast that you can get away with capping out at 50. Yeah, exactly. There's some sequence where you can just be like, yeah, that's enough. Yeah, so Cadmos, my guess is that Chief Chippy plays some of the short code competitions in there as well. We did one on C#, and that just got annoyingly difficult. Can I pick which kind we want? Or do you just get whatever it is? Like, can I tell what kind it is? Yeah, it's a little fun. It's a little silly. I gotta say, there's all right, couple of key points here that I do want to mention. If these help you practice for coding interview questions, you're getting asked the wrong coding interview questions. I've never been a big fan of coding interviews giving these types of things. This is not the type of code that you write in the real world, so you shouldn't be writing this. When people are like, oh yeah, write a linked list, it's like, okay, you know what? In my professional career, do you know how many times I've had to write my own linked list? In fact, if a dev on my team wrote a linked list, I would probably yell at them for writing a linked list. Odds are pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't yell. I don't yell at people. But how many here would pass the coding interview? Yeah. Unless in private you can, not with 10-minute countdown. Clash of Code is more fun. Yeah, exactly. It's fun. The code you write here, you know, it shouldn't like. These are, yes, they say these purpose, but it's like it should be fun. Improve your problem solving skills. I'll give you that one. And learning from other people's code, sure. But if this is practice for your coding interview, then that's bad. So how do I pick? Oh, I could start a private clash. There you go. Someone mentioned this. Kate, I think, mentioned this. I don't know if Kate's still here. Oh, I can pick the type that we want to do. You decide which languages are allowed. That's funny. Yes, Cadmos, you are correct. You are 100% correct right there. If someone was like if you needed to use some kind of basic data structure for something in a coding interview and the correct answer isn't use whatever library is in the language you're supposed to be using and just use the one that they've got, or you know, some readily available alternate choice if you want. For example, I might use notatime instead of the date times built into C#, or you know, you might go and grab some library that does that. That's the right answer. Not here. Let me create one. Uh so yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know what to pick here. Um, we'll do a. Well, you know what? We'll allow any of them. Let's start one of these. I don't know how this works. We're gonna find out. Now, how do I give all of you the code? Do I paste this? I'm guessing I do that. If I want to let all of you join, I don't know if there's another way to invite you, but there you go. I posted a link in chat. Anybody that wants to try with us. Hexadecimal is the best number representation out there for big values. Yes, hexadecimal is a fantastic system. And in fact, one thing I do want to point out, oh, did we had someone else in there a minute ago? I'll wait for people to join. If anyone else is anyone else joining? I don't know how many people we need to have in order to run this. I don't know which kind it's going to do. I left everything selected and all languages as well. All right, looks like we got 5 of us in here. Is anybody else joining? Anybody else coming in for the? If you're still planning on joining, mention in chat. Otherwise, I'm going to start. All right, starting it up because no one's saying to wait. Okay, pass test. Find the number of different ways of ordering a list of n elements. Wait. Oh, the number of different ways. Okay. You have a list of 4 numbers. How can it be? Oh. Um. Um. Uh, um. Brain work. Brain won't work. Um. Did I get it? I don't know if I got it. My brain wasn't working there for a minute. Did I get it? I think I got it. Nope. Why didn't I get the last one? Oh, I should have just done this one. That's why I didn't get it, I think. There we go. My brain wasn't functioning there for a minute. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I know. That got a little nuts. All right, I will share my code so other people can see it. Ooh, Python again. We haven't had Python in a little while. uh, Onion, I love it. I love it. That actually makes me wonder, does C# have a, like, I don't usually use factorial, but there may be a, hang on. You now have me wondering, do we have one? Hang on. Do we have a library call for this? I need to look. Okay, but that's not in the standard library. Okay. I just wanted to see, like, does our standard math library have a factorial? I don't think it does. All right, it's great comparisons. The garbage collection is handy, especially when you know what you're trying to delete isn't being used up a certain person. Yeah, so I will say JL Twitchgrain, Java is a perfectly good language. I've used it plenty of times. There are a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, difference between like so we mostly use C# on here, but if you look at C# and you look at Java, you're basically looking at the same, essential structure. There's some variance in like the casing that we use for, different things. Exactly. What is it like C# and Java? They're pretty much the same. So yeah, if you like Java, you're in good company here. We all like we do the same thing. Many of us like other languages as well. For a little while, so the best description of Objective-C that I ever had before I used Objective-C, which I haven't used it in years now, someone who had recently started using Objective-C talked to me, and he described it as, he said, Objective-C really isn't that bad once the Stockholm Syndrome sets in. And the funny thing is I started using it, and I was like, this is terrible. Like, it's such an ugly language, was my initial reaction. And then the funny thing is, after I used it for a little while, I was like, this is still painful, but I'm actually starting to like it. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. I was wrong. I like this. And I'm like, I totally understood. I was like, yep, I got it. Like, it is terrible until you suddenly like it a lot. Which is when, oh, sweet! Someone did Bash! Oh, I love you. Thank you for doing Bash. What'd you do? See, Bash would be a good choice for a shortest solution challenge, wouldn't it? That's a good one. I like it. What was the Perl solution? Okay, so you take an input, and for 100. The Bash and the Perl are really shooting for shortest code solutions. They're probably pretty quick too, like the solutions. The Python is just, it really gives me a laugh because, like, yeah, just import math and then you just factorial it. It's like, what? It's just funny. I like it. Greendorf, Cadmos, do you want me to wait for you? Are you almost done? Are you still doing it, or did you stop? I don't know if we should wait for you or not. the Python solution just like, yeah. Onion, I love it. It's great. Oh, that's funny. Okay. How are we doing on time? Ah, Graindolf. Oh, Cadmos is in. Oh, Cadmos, I know it. I'm almost certain I know what you ran into. Cadmos, I think you got the hit the share code button so we can all see it, Cadmos. But the last test. No. I don't think you're off by one. Cadmos, I don't think you're off by one. I'm gonna take a look. Did you do the int? Yes, it's the int. Cadmos, so I did it at first too. They went bigger than a 32-bit integer. So I changed mine to a long and it immediately passed. So that's what got you, which is a pain, you're right, because yeah, you just needed the int 64. You just had to change int to long and you would have been fine. Yes. Like my first version I wrote basically the same thing and I'm like, yeah, there you go, done. Just just do that. And it's like, oh wait, nope, that didn't work. So that's funny. But yeah, that's pretty much the same thing. You forgot to recursively call your recursive function and kept trying to debug it. Yeah, that's funny. Greendolf, you didn't hit share code. I can't see your code, Greendolf. That's fine. If people don't want to share the code, they don't have to share the code. Either way, I'm glad everybody got their answers in there. Yeah, so when you're in there, there's a button that just says share my code. Yeah, there it is. Yep, we got it. Well done, Greendolf. Yep, you went for short code too. A static system console usage. I like it. And then what'd you do? You made an inline method that returns a long and takes in a long and just returns that. Yep, I like it. I like it. Yeah, so the funny thing is I just assumed that was like a share with the share with the internet. But it's like, no, that's the one that lets other people see it. So which makes sense to me. I'm glad someone came in chat and told us that. Because, we don't usually play CodinGame on here. Back in the day I was like, there's CodinGame, but there's another one else. There was something else that we used to play also. There was another coding challenge back in the day. Yes, there's a lambda in here. Technically, this is not actually a lambda, so this is actually called this is a local function. I think this is a local function because technically we're in code that does not have a class wrapped around it here, and so this is an expression bodied member. So it is sort of a lambda, but we can do these anywhere in C# now. So like any member that you've got, whether it be a property or a method, you can actually just use these to one line and not have curlies. It's really nice, the spot that we've gotten. I think any language that helps pay my mortgage is good. Yes, Fuel Snail, well, that is correct. One of the big things that you'll hear me rant about here all the time is when people get critical of languages, like I know exactly. Yep, Greendolf, you use Java at work, you can use C# at work. It doesn't matter which one people use. If you can solve good problems with a language and people will pay you to write it, that's a good language. Obviously, you'll notice that there are a handful of languages that people won't pay you to write. Please know that it's yeah. Yes, Greendolf. There are people that hate on languages for all kinds of things. I do know that in our chat we're very open to whatever language and things people want to use. For the most part in here, we've done only in coding games we've done stuff that's not C# and JavaScript. We mostly stick to those here, which is funny because JavaScript's actually one of the first languages I ever learned because I used it back in the late 90s, and then I can tell you, when I started using it for anything real, I immediately stopped using JavaScript because it was terrible, awful garbage. And then shortly, like little ways into my it would have been like in the 2000s. Then at some point jQuery comes along and JavaScript wasn't bad anymore. If you use JavaScript pre-jQuery, you know what I'm talking about. having to support JavaScript on more than one browser was a nightmare. So no, Mr. Chicken, you are not the only person that likes dynamically typed languages. So that's the funny thing, is I talk to so many people that like talk about JavaScript like it has forever been a great language, and it's like, no, like, if you, which I guess it wasn't really the language that was the problem, it was the support of the language in the browsers that was the problem. So maybe the language was fine, but coding with it was a pain. So two totally different things there. Okay, people still shame you in 2022 for enjoying JavaScript. What? No, JavaScript's perfectly fine. I know everybody's pushing right now for like TypeScript. TypeScript's fine too, but yeah, if you want to use JavaScript, JavaScript's great. We have done a lot of JavaScript on here, and in fact, everyone in here, please help me pester Guy Royce. So Guy Royce is one of the, I don't know if he's developer advocate or developer relations, something like that at Redis. Redis, one of the Redis companies. It's one of the, like, it's the commercial Redis company. I forget which one, which is terrible that I can't remember that. But it's whichever one that he's with. But anyway, we want to pester him because Guy and I had been doing a series on here of building inefficient data structures in JavaScript. So we've done a few already, and specifically we were building probabilistic data structures in JavaScript, and our end goal is to eventually build a, like our own version of Redis out of JavaScript that is horribly inefficient, so you never want to use it, but it's more the exercise in understanding the underlying data structures. So we talked earlier about the idea of building the linked list in an interview is about the dumbest thing that they could have you do in an interview. And yes, I am going to insult someone that does that as part of their interview process. For most companies, there are a couple of edge cases. If you really work at a place where you are building those kinds of libraries, that's okay. Probably. But anywhere else, you shouldn't be doing that, and you should be using the existing data structures. But building them and looking at them is a great way to understand the data structure that you're using. So I think you should understand a data structure, like a linked list or something like that, and understand how it works and why it works and what you would use it for. So understanding arrays versus linked lists, if you don't understand that, then, that's not great. But we're not going to make Redis and T-SQL. Also, Hydrazer, thank you very much for following the channel. If anyone else is in here and hasn't clicked the follow button, please do. Yeah, reverse a linked list. That's a great way to do things. So Guy and I were building those essentially inefficient data structures in JavaScript as a way to sort of, go through it and help people understand these data structures. So we started off building a linked list, a hash table, and a Bloom filter. His schedule has him traveling too much, but I want to drag him in here, make him a guest, toss him over in the corner again so we can build some data structures together, because we've done that in the past and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully we can convince Guy that it's time to come back on the stream and build another one. So if you don't know what a Bloom filter is, we're not going to build another one, but I do have the recording of that. So if you have not, you can also check out our YouTube channel. I need to make that one work because I always type it. I type social. Anyway, I tossed some links in the chat because our YouTube channel has archives of our old videos. So basically all the recordings. So it's got the live streams as well as like, content that I have created and edited for the channel. So there are actually a lot of educational videos on there if you want to take a look. But specifically, if you want to see how to build a Bloom filter and see a couple of idiots go through and build that in JavaScript, yes, I called Guy an idiot. I called myself an idiot. It's not really that we're idiots. It's that we were just being silly and having fun. Whenever Guy's on the stream, he and I get into some banter and silliness. It's always a wild time. Guy and I are good friends. We know each other from various conferences around the country and things like that. So we both end up speaking and running workshops at these events. Which reminds me, if anyone is in the U.S. and is going to CodeMash, I will be speaking there this coming year. So in January 2023, if you are interested in attending CodeMash, which is a language agnostic conference in that they of course host in the middle of winter in Northwest Ohio. So an absolute blast. Yes, Cadmos, if you're going to be there at CodeMash, be sure to check out my workshops. I'll be running 2 workshops. and I will have a guest speaker that is completely awesome and will also be helping out with those workshops. So if anyone is going to attend there, be sure to you know, swing by and say hi, something like that. 11 years in a row. No. So I have attended CodeMash for many years. I actually missed the last two. But this will be my 10th or 11th time speaking at CodeMash. So, something like the 10th or 11th. I know it's at least 10th. Because I did 9 years in a row back in the day. I can't remember if I then came back and did another one, or if this is the one I'm coming back on. So it's 10 or 11 years. Thank you very much for that follow, Mr. Chicken and Mez Youssef. Hopefully, if I butcher anybody's name, please let me know. I don't intend to. If I totally screwed up, tell me, and I will try to say it better. You didn't get into CodeMash. Hopefully next year. You haven't spoken there before. Oh, Code with Sean. That is a bummer. Yes, Cadmos, it's still 2020. This is it's we're finally into April of 2020 now. That's right. Yeah, so most of the time, so lately I've gotten a bunch of rejections from CodeMash, but I finally didn't this year. And I also had a conversation with one of the people that was reviewing that specifically commented that she loved the one of my rejected talks. She loved the title of. And I'm like, yeah, it's a huge bummer because I've never given this talk to a place where there wasn't, like, you know, people standing. Whenever I've done this talk, like, I get standing room. It's like, but I got rejected. So, but with CodeMash, they get so many submissions that they have to cut tons of really good talks. So if you didn't get accepted to CodeMash, it is not a big deal. Just try again the next year. My pro tip for people: if they set the limit at 5 talks, send in 5 talks, and you might get one accepted. Because they really do get so many submissions that they, like, the talks they cut are usually good talks because they just get so many. I will also warn you that CodeMash does do, they have people go through initially and they hide all the information that might give away anything about who the speaker is so that it can be, you know, blind, anonymous, you know, whatever you want to call it, review of the session abstracts. So they're picking without knowing who it is that put it in there. So they really do have someone that goes through basically to just, you know, so that way if you put your name or something like that in your abstract, that gets cleared out so that the reviewers are not seeing the names. So they really don't know who it is, which is why I tell you, submit as many as you can, because there is a good chance that you're getting cut. I think maybe they know how many times you've spoken there before. Because I also know that they try to get, they go through a, I could be wrong, and if I am, I apologize for getting an incorrect thing, but I think they go through and, so yeah, we're talking about how sessions get chosen. At CodeMash, they like to make sure they get a certain percent of people who are new speakers and have not spoken at CodeMash before, and so what they'll do is they specifically try to review the ones from people who have not spoken there before. Oh, you did a talk where you were a backup person. I have been called in as a backup speaker more than a couple of times, where they basically said, "Hey, we need someone, you know, to cover a talk. Like, can you do it?" And I'm like, "I've got talks ready. Yeah." Wait a minute. Did I do that at CodeMash once? I did it at Stir Trek once. I don't know if anyone here attends Stir Trek, but I did that at Stir Trek one year. Yes, they have reserved slots for first-time talkers. I think what they did was they did an initial pass, so like an initial review, blind, and then they had a number of slots that they, after the fact, went and added in to make sure they got up to their number of new speakers, I think is how they did it. So they did it as multiple rounds of doing that. Do you find solving algorithm problems useful in day-to-day work, or some kind of challenge are more useful for better? J Steph, I'm guessing on your name. That is an amazing question, and I love it. Do these coding exercises help with the day-to-day work? Mostly no. Um, funny enough, they can help sometimes. There are small bits of code that these do kind of apply to. But what's going to help more than these kinds of exercises is for like the production code is so some katas can help. And I say that because there are some aspects of them that can be useful for reinforcing certain structures, designs, things like that. And exactly, yes. So as Fuel Stable mentions, design patterns. If you do a kata that is designed to help reinforce the structure of a design pattern in your brain, that can be useful for helping you to be able to apply that in the future. So for reinforcing solid, if you're doing a larger one, you can kind of focus on the solid principles as you build. And there are some exercises where you can intentionally try to do that. I have done that kind of thing in some workshops before, where we try to show people how they can use programming exercises and katas to help them reinforce both the solid principles as well as design patterns. So if you want to get used to that, there are some ways to do that. I've done workshops on that in the past, and I will be doing some again in the future. In fact, some aspect of that will be in my workshop at CodeMash. But what is what I find most valuable in terms of what to practice to help you in your day-to-day code is not that. It is actually refactoring katas, which is a different kind. And it's getting that practice in what I would say is a slightly smaller code base. Now, you can do some of this at work as well. If you've got like some smaller projects you can tackle. You don't really want to practice this in the bigger ones, but if you want to practice, the reason to do a refactoring kata is because you can retry it a few times, whereas you don't usually do that with your work stuff. Like once you fixed it, you kind of go on. But a refactoring kata is basically a set of code that exists already, and your goal is to make changes, add features to it without breaking the existing functionality. So it's like you inherit this code and you try to make it work. So the reason that that's helpful is because that's kind of closer to the real world. You frequently get some code, even if you're inheriting it from your past self, right? Like I wrote code 6 months ago, I go back to it and I'm like, I don't even remember how this works. So you can write what are called characterization tests. So characterization tests are the tests that help you to characterize or figure out what this code does. And so you write a suite of characterization tests to figure out the existing functionality. Once you have that, you have a suite of tests to make sure that your modifications or your added new feature does not break the existing functionality. So that is essentially the thing you're practicing is how do I start making change to a big set of, exploratory tests, or this is the same concept, exploratory tests, characterization tests, whatever you want to call them. So that's kind of the thing. And advice for someone who wants to start streaming and speaking at events but doesn't have the courage for that. Just stream. So I first started speaking at conferences in like 08, 09, something around then. I started writing articles, blog posts, forums, all that kind of stuff. And I started live streaming in late 2017, early 2018, around that time frame. And I can tell you, just kind of go. I used to run a user group for a number of years. We started in, I don't know, I don't even remember when we started, 07, 08, somewhere around there. I started a user group. So I spoke a lot of times with the user group. My suggestion, find a local user group, speak there first if you want to. Submit stuff to a conference. If you submit stuff to a conference, you basically have pressure you can't escape from and you have to give the talk. Yeah, so the small and friendly environment is the user group. So if you speak at a user group, it's a lot easier. So once you start speaking enough times, if you get really good at it, your prep gets a lot easier. So I can go speak at a conference with like a set of loose notes because I've gotten so used to speaking, especially from having done like live streaming and stuff like that as well. And it's not that difficult at this point. That doesn't mean it's going to go great, but I can keep it from going poorly. But do user groups first, submit to a conference, and the deadline really does help. Um, it really, really does, because you're forced to get it prepped then. And for live streams, the nice thing about them is they can kind of get you the experience with just speaking, because the most valuable thing, in my opinion, is being able to just talk to an audience. If you can just talk, right? You memorizing there are a lot of people that try to like memorize their script for their talk. That's not a great way to go. What you want to do is you want to get comfortable in speaking. So you need to just be able to step in front of an audience, and this is what you want to practice. And again, that's why you go to user groups, and that's why you're going to do live streaming, is just talk. So I can say, I can talk about any topic. I can talk about C#. I can talk about, whatever we want to discuss. Whatever, like, you ask me a question, I start talking, right? And that's sort of the thing that you want to be able to do. Then when you give a talk, all you end up having to do is just know the order of topics. So your slides are, I recommend against putting tons of text on your slide. What you want to do instead is use your slides essentially as like visual cues, both to the audience so they can see what you're talking about. They can see a concept, an idea that you're talking about, but they're also the cue to you of the topic you're supposed to speak on. And so you don't have to memorize everything you're going to say. You just have to be prepped to do it. And the reason I recommend that is your talk should always be things you're comfortable on. And if you can talk in front of an audience about something you're comfortable in, that's what live streaming is going to help you with, then it gets a lot easier. Exactly. Yes. So Sean is correct. Your slides are the pictures that are also the cues, different cue, but cues, and enough to convey a point to an audience. So I like having visually interesting stuff that is up there. Occasionally you do need words or source code snippets depending on what type of talk you're giving. I like that style. You've given your talk on microservices 27 times since July 2019. Yeah, so at this point, hopefully Sean just knows that talk and doesn't need to do anything. There was another part of your question in there. From your experience, you've never done solid or design patterns explicitly. You're just following the rule, do the work with as little code as possible and using Yagni. So that's a very interesting point. You actually hit one thing. As little code as possible, I don't always think is a great idea. You got to find the right balance of like enough code that it's readable, but you don't want to repeat so much that it is hard to maintain. Well, there you go, Sean. Yeah, writing books is one of those crazy ones. Okay. What do we need to... Okay, that reminds me. I sent out links to my socials. I'm going to do that one more time so that people have them. So if you haven't joined our Discord, join our Discord. You really can talk with our community. So, all the regulars that you see here in the chat, the people that have swords, VIP icons, subscriber icons, things like that next to their name. I guess I called them icons. They're called badges, technically. Most of us are in the Discord, and we chat there from time to time about fun different topics, so I recommend people check that out. Also, if you aren't following me on Twitter and Discord, you should, because that is how you're going to get notified when we go live here. You could also, follow and keep the notifications on if you want. Most people tend not to turn those on. And yes, Greendolf, you're correct. Dry can cause a lot of bad code, I think because people try to be dry for the sake of dry. And that's taking it a little bit too far. Because just trying to get to the smallest amount of code is not good, but getting to the right balance of, I'm not repeating something a whole bunch that shouldn't be repeated. I'm repeating the piece that you can understand. So like the understandable, like, and I don't know how I explained it that well, but I think people mostly get the idea. Don't arbitrarily inhibit repeating yourself. Thanks, Cadmos. The other thing is I posted a link to our YouTube, and I really have been posting a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I think that most days this week there was a YouTube video that showed up on the channel. So do check that out. 3 more ads. Ad in progress. Yeah, Greendolf. I'll start over. Yeah. Do. I gotta say, they're throwing so many ads at us at this point that I'm tempted to turn off the ads. Wow, yeah, they show them on that. You know, Greendolf, don't you have don't you have Amazon Prime? Can't you just subscribe? Yeah. Go to Sean's like, yeah, I'm turning those off. See? I agree, I hate ads, but the problem is I don't want to have ads for people that join the channel. So like the requirement from Twitch, and this might be the thing that this might be, well, one of the things that drives us away from Twitch, because they are getting on my nerves about this stuff. I don't like the pre-roll ads that people have to go through just to get into the chat. The pre-roll ads really bug me, and the only way to get rid of them is this. And so I wanted to try it out. I was like, all right, we'll allow them to run ads during the stream. But the problem is that then you get annoying ads that just pop up at some point. And that's getting kind of irritating. So ad block works fine too, yeah. I just don't want new people that come in to not get to the stream right away. So, okay, what was I saying to Greendolf? I don't even remember. What were we talking about? Oh, we were just talking about dry. Yeah. All I was saying was that a lot of times with dry, people just get into the point where they're just trying to get their code as small as possible, which is not the answer. You need to get it so you're not consistently repeating, but you don't have to you don't have to get it as dry as possible. It's just don't do something a whole bunch of. You should put it in one place. If you're going to do something that's unique, put it in one spot. Find a spot for it. That doesn't always mean to abstract it away. If it's pretty simple and it's clearer to have it in line, have it in line. The biggest thing is levels of abstraction. And that's what I think people really need to understand, is you need to find the right level of abstraction. So if you are at the level of, working on the properties of an object, you should work on the properties of objects. You don't need to hide a whole bunch of different pieces. Now, if you have common repeatable stuff or there's added complexity to the implementation of one, that is a different level of abstraction because you're dealing with the complexity of the internals of some other piece. So that gets abstracted away and kept with it, right? But it's understanding that is the big thing. And if you stay with that and you don't have to always refactor out every repeated line. It does not have to get, you don't have to get that extent. But I totally understand your point that a lot of people think dry means, oh, I can't repeat myself ever, because it's don't repeat yourself. Whereas it should be like avoid excessive repetition. And we'll call it air. Avoid excessive repetition. Avoid excessive repetition. There you go. And avoid isn't don't. It's not strong. It's avoid. It's try to minimize how much of it you've got. See? Air. You don't want it to be dry. You want to have a little bit of air. Yeah, exactly. You've been fighting that a lot recently. Yeah, exactly. If your abstractions obscures intent, yes, precisely, yes. And a lot of times it's because people are abstracting within the same. Yeah, thank you, Hydrazer. And yes, Code with Sean is correct. One of the big things that a lot of people get wrong is they try to make their microservices dry. That is one of the biggest problems I see in microservices is people trying to make sure that each one of the microservices is sharing all these. They're like, oh, I need to put it in one place. It's like, you'd think that, but you're actually better off duplicating across the microservices, because otherwise they all become super dependent on each other and they all become dependent on the same things. And then before you know it, you have distributed monolith. So I don't know whether everybody in here has heard of distributed monolith, but that is like the anti-pattern of microservices. Is you have built a whole bunch of interdependent services that all actually depend on each other. So really, you still have the monolith, but it's made in pieces. And you're like, oh, is that better? Maybe? I don't know. So a lot of people have pushed for the monolith, because if your alternative is distributed monolith, monolith's usually better than distributed monolith. But there could be some cases where a distributed monolith is better, but microservices is not distributed monolith. Hey, yeah, see, Greendolf, you inherited one. Microservices, you repeat yourself. What was the most helpful in order to move from junior to mid to senior? So That's a fantastic question. So the biggest thing that I would tell everyone for how to like upskill. So I was junior at one point. I was, I was like a junior developer at one point, a developer at some point, a senior developer. I've been like a principal developer at different places. I've, led teams, this point I do a lot of mentoring for people at all those different levels, Steph. And the biggest thing that I can tell you for any of the people that I work with, because I do a lot of mentoring and training right now, the biggest thing for leveling yourself up is deliberate, regular practice. So doing some of those exercises and workshops and do unique ones. So you can just go and find exercises. Principals can't code. Actually, the places where I was the principals, we still coded. But you're right. That does come up in some spots where you get to the point where you stop coding. But that's a different one. The answer that I would really give to people is go and grab exercises that can help you. So check out some of the ones that are bigger. So Guy Royce has like putting the D&D and TDD workshop that he and his friend George Walters worked on. That one has a whole bunch that you can do that is like practice for like building solutions. One of the other things for leveling up is always be learning. Whether that means going and watching YouTube videos, reading articles, or just trying out new tech. Maybe you watch Pluralsight videos. All those kinds of things are good answers. And thank you very much for that follow, Azul. But then there's an added thing. It's not just watch the videos. It's not just read the articles. What you need to do is consume and internalize that concept and either make a video or write an article or something else like that. So a lot of what I do right now is sharing knowledge that I already have. But when I was starting out, when I was junior, mid, etc., and growing, I'm still growing. I'm like, we all are. But through that journey, the thing that I find that grows people the most is writing down what you learn. So absorb it, and recreate new stuff. So learn something new, create a video. Learn something new, write an article. So if you don't have a blog right now, just go create one. And you go, but no one's going to read my blog. Yeah, no one's going to read your blog. Maybe they will. If you get a great blog, they might. But probably no one's going to read it. Except for the handful of people that end up there from a Google search, and you've helped. And the value of it isn't that, oh yes, I got a whole big audience. The value of it is, oh, I internalized, helped to get that in my brain, help me understand the concept, think it through, make sure I had a good enough understanding to be able to write the article. But then in addition, you go back and you search and you find your idea again later. And you refresh on it easier because it's written the way you understand. So if you've ever heard that like teaching is a great way to learn, that's sort of what you're doing. So you want to get an understanding of concept enough to be able to write a short article on it for beginners. So go and do that a whole bunch. Every time you learn something new, write an article. So just make it a habit that you're just writing articles all the time. It's a really, really good way to learn. I tell every beginner that. So I used to run so I worked at a consulting firm, and we had an internship program. And so I ran the internship program and also worked with all the junior developers there. And one of the things I made all of them do was write about every new thing they learned. And you go like, well, it's like, seriously. And then they would go back and they would search and find them. Like years later, they would end up on their own articles that they wrote as a junior, and they would understand it better. And it's just a fantastic way to learn. So if you're trying to get better at something, learn a concept, write an article on it. Learn a concept, write an article on it. Just that is your process. Okay, I missed a whole bunch of stuff in chat. There are many good reasons to copy and paste a monolith using feature flags. Yeah. Mid to senior to lead to manager. Manager can't code anything. Yeah, so I will also point out that I've never liked the idea of manager being like above a lead or a principal or whatever. I kind of see them as two separate career paths, and I don't think they should align. And I also get annoyed by the fact that some people, they take the manager position because it pays more. And I also kind of sit there, I'm like, why does the manager position get paid more than, like, they're two separate skill sets, and managers in other orgs don't get paid as much at, like, why, if you're a manager of developers, would you get paid more than if you're a manager of someone else? Like, the skill set's different. So that doesn't mean that you can't be a manager that gets paid more than developers, but I also feel like, yeah, it's weird. because I don't see them as the same track or one being more valuable than the other. A fantastic dev is really, really valuable. Mediocre manager of a fantastic dev, the mediocre manager of a fantastic dev should not get paid more than a fantastic dev. But yeah, crazy. Rant aside. Let's see. Principles always should be learning from perspective. Just yes, Onion. Yes, that's one of the other big things that people don't get. So I had a client recently. They were asking me. I had a bunch of people on a team that were asking me like, "How do you know so much, Brendan?" And I was sitting there. I'm like, "Well, I don't know everything. I just know a whole bunch of stuff that you guys don't know." But then I was also like, part of the way that I managed to keep up and learn a lot of new things is from all of you. And so I was like, literally, as we're talking, every little bit that you know, that I pick up from you, you should be picking up tons from me, but I'm going to be picking up from tons of stuff from you as well. So what I don't do is I don't stop learning. That's basically something like, I understand going into every relationship that I could be working with a dev, a mid, a senior. It doesn't matter who I'm working with. I am going to try to learn something from you because everyone brings something to the table that I don't know. Every single person. There is no one I work with who, you know, their knowledge is a subset of mine. That just does not happen. That's why your PhD world postgrad brings ideas and supervisors bring experience. Yeah. Keep in mind when you read coding articles, though, that a lot of them were written that way. Yes. So Greendorf, I do recommend that that if you are writing one of those, just mention in the beginning of your article that you are learning about this new concept. That way people know the experience level you're writing from. You don't have to say, "Hey, I'm a moron. Hey, I'm a beginner." You don't have to write that, right? Like, don't degrade yourself, but say, "Hey, this week I started learning about this." And that's a great way to start a blog post that is about, like, I mean, like, it's not like a super tie-in, but somewhere in the beginning of your blog post, make sure people know that you are learning about this concept so they don't think that you're like a, you know, an expert in it or something, right? So if you're worried about that, just do that. Exactly. You don't need to. Yes, you don't need to have an audience. Do you find certifications helpful? So I have worked as a hiring manager in a consulting organization as well as the services organization of a product company, and I can tell you that if you listed certifications on there, I didn't really pay attention to them. And the reason why, like, I might, but most of the time I didn't. So I was not hiring for a company that had a partner program that required them. Some companies maintain partner programs with companies that require certain numbers of certifications in order to retain the partnership. That is, companies want those. If you want to go to work for a company that has that, getting the certifications first is a good idea because they'll be happy that you have it. But in addition, a lot of the companies that have those requirements will pay their employees to get those certifications, so you don't need them beforehand. The advantage of a certification, some companies look at them, but some don't. It's kind of a toss-up. I tend to ignore them because I know that someone can just go cram for a test and pass a certification exam without actually having built anything with that. So I would rather see that you had experience working with the technology that you would otherwise be getting certified in. And so that's sort of the stance that I sit in. Oh, you built this application that works on this? Okay, that tells me you know how to do it. Like, certifications on Azure. Cool, you did that. Like, awesome. Now, a certification can tell you that, and I guess I don't totally ignore them, but I tend to favor your experience over your certifications. So, but that's just my stance on that. So, one of the advantages of them, if you go down the learning of a certification, that can be a good way to make sure that you have the breadth of knowledge of that. And whether or not you continue on to get the certification is up to you, right? Like, I don't put much stock in them because I know that it is just a test. And a lot of people can just pass tests without really having experience with it. You got a 90x through the team's principal engineer and attitude towards a lot of my thoughts and advice changed a lot. Yeah, exactly, Greendorf. Okay, story time. Do I have a better view for this? Discussions went, no, I don't. Okay, so Greendorf has me wanting to talk about story time real quick. I worked at Telerik at one point, and I, as an employee of Telerik, I worked, so as you might have guessed, I work as a consultant most of the time. But I did work at the company, and I had to know their products inside and out. And I had to know how their code works. Now, when you work with companies that are distributed around the world, a lot of times what can end up happening is that and this happens in other companies as well, you sort of get pockets in companies, like the people over here and the people, they're kind of like in and out groups, right? So Telerik was based in Bulgaria. They're now a part of Progress Software, for anybody that doesn't know. They were based in Bulgaria, and so I went to Bulgaria at one point, and the Bulgarians, of course, were an in-group, and I was an outsider. And so a lot of the people on one of the product teams that I worked really closely with, didn't really think that anybody that wasn't on their team could know their product that well. We'll phrase it that way. So many of them did not think too highly of me. And anyway, so I was in there just to meet the team and get to know them and work with all of them. And so I was in there one time. I was in like I think they had a dozen team. They had hang on. They had like a dozen team members in this room that I was in. Members of basically two teams, like the core teams for this product. It had 30 some people that build this product. And I was in the room where basically the leads are. And I was talking with some people about some stuff. And the funny thing that came up was someone had said something, someone else tried to correct me on something, and I was like, no, it's like this in the internals. And so I think I was correcting the lead, I think I was correcting the lead of the second team of this, and then it's funny because the main lead person in charge of the product chimes and he's like, actually, Brendan's right. Hence I was like, good. And so then immediately my stock goes up. It's like yeah, because people understood, at that point. That's basically when the realization came. It's like, oh, the person that's in charge of this product says that Brendan knows more than what is effectively the second in charge of this product. It's like, yeah, I actually know this. And that's part of the challenge is that, I'm guilty of the same thing, that we have our in and out groups. I know that the people I work with are smart, but I don't know that other people are. And so you have to sort of balance that don't make a judgment on someone until you actually, meet them at some point. And so I was not really, it's at that point, it's oh, never mind. He's not an idiot. It's yeah, I'm not an idiot. I know how this product works. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. So it was just kind of fun. I like that stuff. So I'm glad, Greendolf, that your team's estimation of you has gone up once they find out. But that is one of the things that you gotta sort of just deal with. Okay. Well, I want to wrap here because it's about time to wrap up the stream. So a couple of things. Again, I'm going to post our links in the chat. Don't head out just yet. We're not about to have an ad break, are we? Let me make sure that doesn't happen. If it's about to happen, nope, we're not. Good. Okay, so if you have enjoyed any of our discussions, again, this is called DevChatter. Even though we read a whole bunch of code, we always end up talking about a whole bunch of stuff, hence chatter. I am hoping that we're going to stream again tomorrow, so be on the watch for our stream. I'm hoping it starts around early afternoon time, maybe noon, 1, something like that. That's Eastern time. So do adjust. That's UTC -4 right now. If you have not followed the stream yet and you enjoyed any of the discussions, I recommend you do. Links to our Discord and YouTube. If you join our Discord, you're able to talk with a whole bunch of us outside of the stream. I highly recommend people do that because it really is a good group of people. We have an awesome community here at DevChatter. It's very friendly. The YouTube channel that I linked to is my YouTube channel where I have been posting a whole bunch of edited videos, but I also end up with the archives of our old live streams. So if you check those out, you can even find some of the times where we have done some cool stuff in the past, including the videos I was talking about where Guy Royce and I were building inefficient data structures in JavaScript. And the last link that I posted there in chat is to Twitter, where you can follow me if you want. Yeah. Anyway, I think I had an awesome time coding today. I'm hoping everybody else did, and our discussions. It was a blast. I really want to thank everybody who jumped in today and followed the stream, chatted, joined us in our coding game, and I'm looking forward to talking to you all tomorrow. Hopefully that stream goes smoothly and happens and everything like that. And then next week I should be able to do a couple more streams, so we'll see how that goes as well. Either way, it was an awesome time hanging out with all of you. I will see you next time. And if you are one of the new people, welcome to the group. Hopefully you enjoy it. Take care and happy coding, everyone.